Hello, everybody. This is Sinema77, horror and cult film lover, and I'm back with another video. And tonight we're going to talk about a vampire movie. Big surprise, another erotic vampire movie. But this is actually the one vampire movie that I'm surprised nobody has said that they would love this movie to be in 4K. And the movie we're talking about is the 1994 movie Embrace of the Vampire, starring Alyssa Milano, um, looking very lovely and gorgeous there. And yeah, this movie came out in 1994, directed by Annie Gorsad. I hope I said that right, Annie Gorsad. But it stars Alyssa Milano. Obviously, it stars Martin Kemp as the vampire. There's a little role with Jennifer Tilly in this movie. Jordan Ladd, who you remember from Club Dread and Cabin Fever and Death Proof. She's in this movie. And, yeah, this movie, the biggest selling point of this movie is, you get to see Alyssa Milano naked. And I do remember that there was some kind of controversy going on years back. And I think it had something, I could be wrong. Okay. I'm just saying, this is what I think it had something to do with, like, people were aggravated that when Drew Barrymore did the movie Poison Ivy, that she wasn't really nude, that she used a body double and stuff like that. And so Alyssa Milano, who was on the TV show Who's the Boss, and I believe this was either no, I think this is before she got the show Charmed, but she was known for the TV show Who's the Boss and everything else, and she wanted to show that she could do more mature roles and not just do teenage movies and stuff like that. And she opted to do this film, and she had she decided she was going to do the nudity and stuff like that. And the thing is, the interesting thing about this movie is when you watch this movie and you see the nudity in here, they go to great lengths to let you know that it is her, because they're showing her body and her face in the same shot, as opposed to how a lot of movies, shoot nudity, where it's like you always see like the top of the head is cut off, but you can see down, but then they cut to, like, a close up of the face, but from the neck down is you don't see anything. So that was always kind of a thing, though, too. Is like, they were going to let you know that you are looking at Alyssa Milano nude. And okay, now getting into the film. Okay, we already discussed the nudity part of it, but getting into the film, the movie starts off with Martin Kemp as a, back in the olden days, and he's a young man. He's in love, and he has, this beautiful woman who, basically, like, centuries later, he believes Alyssa Milano is the reincarnation of his, lost love. Very, very similar to Bram Stoker's Dracula. And he's with her, and then she leaves or something, and then he sees these three beautiful women, and they seduce him, and they turn him into a vampire. Turns out they're vampires. And then, like I said, centuries later, he discovers Alyssa Milano's character as her name is Charlotte. She's a college student, and her character, she's very prudish. She has a very strict religious upbringing, and she's very, like, not into sex and all this other kind of stuff. Even though you realize, like, as you watch this movie goes along, there are many, like, temptations that come upon her. And she's all about, like, she wants to do her studies and and get her degrees and all this other kind of stuff. And she has a boyfriend, and he is kind of pushing for them. He's kind of passively aggressively pushing for them to have sex. And even though he says, I'm kidding most of the time, even though he's really not, and he's not. And she's having these dreams, and she's having these visions of this man and everything, that ultimately turns out to be Martin Kemp's vampire character. And and Rachel True plays one of her friends. Rachel True from The Craft. She plays one of her friends, and she invites her to a party, and they're about to be assaulted and stuff like that. And Martin Kemp's character comes in and kind of rescues Alyssa Milano's character, but kind of kills everybody else. Well, not kind of, he does kill everybody else, but and then you see that Alyssa Milano, she's kind of like being seduced by just about everybody. Like at one point, there's a female photographer played by Charlotte Lewis who she there's this kind of long scene where she takes Alyssa Milano into her studio and basically starts saying she wants to shoot some pictures of her and kind of works her into removing her clothes and and all this other kind of stuff and basically makes a move on her and then Alyssa Milano's like, no, I don't think so, and all this stuff. And you got Jordan Ladd's character is kind of I guess if Alyssa Milano, if her character had a if she had somebody who's kind of like an enemy, it would be Jordan Ladd's character because Jordan Ladd thinks of her as kind of a bimbo, and even though she's not, but she notices like all these people coming after her, and so she kind of looks at Alyssa Milano as a bit of a slut and all this other kind of stuff, and they argue and fight and get into all these things, and then Martin Kemp, his character, he's invading her dreams, and she's having these very sexualized dreams and stuff like that, and he's putting he's putting these ideas into her head about causing doubt with her and her boyfriend, and even though he is, for the most part, he's very faithful to her, he's very loyal to her. Everybody's kind of putting doubt into both of their minds because she hasn't had sex with him yet, and he really wants to have sex with her, but she's kind of really pushing for them not to, and all this other kind of stuff. So kind of making her fear she might be losing him, but Martin Kemp's character is more like trying to get her more over to his side and everything else, and even at one point, even brings in, is she on here? New. I was going to show you if Jennifer Tilly's character was on here, but yeah, she was going to bring in Jennifer Tilly as she just has this small role of this seductress who tries to put the moves on Alyssa Milano's boyfriend in the movie. Doesn't really work and everything else. So if you're going in here thinking you're going to see like Jennifer Tilly nude or something, I'm gonna, I hate to disappoint you, but it's not gonna happen. I mean, basically, the main one you're gonna see nude is Alyssa Milano here. She's kind of the main one you're gonna be looking at here in the movie, which that's not a bad thing, though. I'm just saying, though. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's I'm gonna level with you. I mean, this movie, it's not really scary. It's not really gory. Um, it is erotic, but I mean, truth be told, um, in terms of being a vampire movie, it's really nothing you haven't already seen before. I mean, the plot is very similar to Bram Stoker's Dracula, and like Martin Kemp's character, he has this amount of time he needs to seduce Alyssa Milano and turn her into a vampire and stuff, or otherwise he's going to lose her forever and stuff like that. And the boyfriend's got to try to rescue her, which is kind of very reminiscent of Bram Stoker's Dracula, where you had the same thing going on between Mina and Jonathan Harker and Dracula. So I mean, it's kind of the same thing there. Um, um, you know, the movie. I admit the eroticism in the movie is very good if you like erotic movies. There's plenty of that in there. But I mean, of course, yeah, really, Alyssa Milano in the flesh. That's really what you're going to want to watch this movie for, and that's kind of the biggest thing that this movie's got going for it. But like I said, it's not a particularly scary vampire movie. It's not a particularly gory vampire movie or anything like that. It's more about the sensuality of it and everything else. But it's not a bad movie. It was remade here not too long ago, and the remake was I mean basically just came and gone. And the remake, what really made this movie stand out was, like I keep saying over and over again, Alyssa Milano nude. That was the thing. That's what sold this movie. That's what made this turn this movie into a real cult classic and stuff like that. Was the fact you got to see that, and the remake just kind of really didn't measure up. And I believe in the remake, the girl who played her character was basically an unknown. So I mean, it just kind of didn't really. I think if you had gotten somebody, here from like a couple of years ago who, like audiences really would have wanted to see do these nudity scenes and stuff like that, it would have worked better. But I think because the remake is pretty much all unknowns and stuff like that, so I don't think that really helped the situation any. But so anyway, so I mean, yeah, I mean, I joke and say, yeah, this movie, should be on 4K and stuff like that. But all kidding aside, it's well, it says there the number one sexiest horror film of all time. I mean, that's a matter of opinion. I mean, I've seen vampire movies. Well, if you've watched my videos, I mean, I've seen vampire movies more explicit than this. But yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's just kind of very. The plot is kind of very paper thin. The performances are okay. I mean, nothing that's going to blow you away or anything. But seeing Alyssa Milano play a mature role, a grown woman, that kind of thing. I mean, if you had watched her just basically, if the only thing you know her from is like Charmed or, Who's the Boss, then yeah, this is definitely a departure from that sort of thing. But I would say, yeah, check it out. I mean, definitely if you're into, if you want a good erotic vampire movie, this is definitely a good one to have. But so yeah, but like I'm just saying though, just don't go into this expecting a really great vampire movie, a really scary one or suspenseful one or anything like that. It's just kind of more, like I said, kind of erotic, soft core kind of thing. But anyway, though, that's going to pretty much wrap it up. We talked about Embrace of the Vampire with Alyssa Milano, and not to mention it's the unrated version. And that was kind of the thing. It says here, the tagline, "The innocence is over," and of course, that was all because like I said, she came off this TV show where she played a very kind of regular, prim and proper teenage girl, and she's going and doing this kind of thing, and then the one thing I thought was funny was that you know around that time, she did this movie, and then I thought it was funny that the first Poison Ivy movie, Drew Barrymore was cast in that, and then she got cast in Poison Ivy 2, where she shows nudity in that movie as well. But then I also thought it was kind of funny that there was a period of time when the Amy Fisher Long Island Lolita case came out, and they did three movies. They did three movies on that one. They did one with Noel Parker. They did a second one with Drew Barrymore, and then they did a third one with Alyssa Milano play all three of them playing Amy Fisher. So I just thought that was kind of funny. And then to see you know, like I said, Drew Barrymore did Poison Ivy 1, and then Alyssa Milano did Poison Ivy 2. Then the third one was Jamie Presley, and then they ended up on My Name Is Earl. I don't know where the hell I'm going with this. Anyway, I'm going to stop wasting your time. I'm rambling on. So, but anyway, though, yeah, go ahead and check out Interview with the Vampire. It's pretty good. If you like a good, sexy vampire movie, this is definitely one you're going to want to add to your collection. So, anyway, that's going to do it. If anybody took the time to watch this video, like I always say, thank you for doing so. I honestly appreciate you doing it. This is Sinema77, horror and cult film lover, and if you love, you know, lovely Alyssa Milano as much as I do, then hopefully we'll talk later. And if you watch this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Have a good night.